I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today. I would also like to pay my respect to elders past and present. Premier Berejiklian, Her Excellency Mavramati, Representative Mr. Kayserian, His Grace Bishop Najarian, Father Susanian, Reverend Fathers, Federal Member for McKellar Mr. Jason Felinsky, distinguished members of the New South Wales Parliament, both past and present, leaders of fellow ethnic Australian communities, representatives of Australia's First Peoples, dear brothers and sisters representing the Armenian-Australian community. Today, Armenian-Australian leaders in religion, in politics, in culture, in education, in relief, in sport, in youth and in the media have come together to say thank you. Thank you not to a single individual, but to a collective. Thank you not to a political party, but to non-partisan political leadership. Thank you not to leadership on an issue for a moment or a day or a term in government, but leadership over 20 years. Over 2 decades, successive New South Wales parliaments, representatives of all parties across most seats in both chambers have taken a road that is notoriously difficult. The road of standing up for an issue of human rights. The New South Wales Parliament has travelled this road by deciding to recognise and consistently condemn the Armenian Genocide. The New South Wales Parliament has also taken this principled path by recognising the rights to self-determination for the Armenians of the Republic of Artsakh. Over 2 decades, successive New South Wales parliaments have stared down the tanks of denial and responded with a shield of truth. Over 2 decades, successive New South Wales parliaments have fended off the nudges and the charges of their federal counterparts, protecting an imaginary national security agenda with Turkey, and responded with backbone, waving a flag of justice. In 1997, just over 20 years ago, the New South Wales Parliament became the first Australian legislature to recognise the Armenian Genocide. The recognition was followed by the erection of a Khachkar monument in the New South Wales Parliament's Peace Garden, dedicated to the 1.5 million victims of the Armenian Genocide and all genocides. Bob Carr was Premier at the time and moved this motion in 1997. Peter Collins was Opposition Leader and he ensured his support made it non-partisan. John Watkins spoke that day, as did Michael Photios and others. That 1997 government was pioneering in its pursuit for justice and set a benchmark many in this place would follow. While Bob Carr and John Watkins couldn't be with us tonight, and we'll hear from Bob Carr via video later, Peter Collins and Michael Photios are here. May I respectfully ask them to stand and let's applaud in thanks for their bravery. In 2013, this same New South Wales Parliament, this time however populated by completely different people, reaffirmed its recognition of the Armenian Genocide. This time, acknowledging that a large number of Assyrians and Greeks also suffered the same fate at the hands of the same perpetrator in 1915. Barry O'Farrell as Premier and John Robertson as Opposition Leader were instrumental in moving that motion, and although they couldn't be with us tonight, I ask that they accept our applause in absence. In 2012, the Legislative Council of New South Wales took what was an unprecedented step in Australia by becoming the first Australian legislature to recognise the Republic of Artsakh. This made the New South Wales Parliament only the third legislative body in the world to recognise the independence of Artsakh. In taking this step, this New South Wales Parliament ignored unveiled threats by an oil-rich dictatorship, which is Azerbaijan, recognising that history and a people's right to self-determination trumps Joseph Stalin's imagined borders of that region. Many from that Legislative Council are in the room this evening. Let's applaud even those who used to be in the Legislative Council, like Marie Fakara, who moved the motion, people like Amanda Fazio, people like Peter Phelps, people like the Honourable Reverend Fred Nile. In 2013, 6 members of this New South Wales Parliament joined the Armenian National Committee of Australia on a trip to the 2 Armenian republics of Armenia and Artsakh. They addressed the Parliament of Artsakh. They visited the Armenian Genocide Memorial in Yerevan and met with the Catholicos and the presidents of both countries. The New South Wales Parliament's 20 years of leadership on human rights issues important to Armenian Australians is definitely admirable. It is also brave in many ways, but it is most importantly right. In over 40 years of Armenian grassroots advocacy in Australia, Armenian national committees have met with literally thousands of political leaders and departmental officials in Canberra and within state parliaments. The case for recognising the Armenian Genocide is always made on behalf of tens of thousands of Australians who can trace their bloodline back to the deserts of Deir Zor, where the death marches took place. The case for justice for the Armenian Genocide is made by people like us who have had our own great-grandmothers experience the rape, our own great-grandfathers witness the drownings, experience the beheadings and the torment. In contrast, the case against recognising the Armenian Genocide is always made by representatives speaking on behalf of foreign governments. Even their lobby groups are funded by consulates and embassies. This is also the case when it comes to Artsakh. As members of Australian parliaments, federal or state, it is up to our political leaders to serve in the interests of their constituents, those who vote for them and those who resource them to serve us as our leaders. New South Wales has proven this over 20 years. They have shown moral fortitude and courage. The New South Wales Parliament has displayed the backbone that we wish will spread like an epidemic and one day soon reach Canberra. It is time for the Parliament of Australia to follow the lead of New South Wales, to display the courage of representing constituents rather than bowing down to empty foreign threats. It is time this line in Australia's foreign policy was written by Australians for Australia. It is time Australia recognises the Armenian Genocide. To the New South Wales Parliament, from 1997 to today, as we saw Mr Hugh McDermott and Mr Jonathan O'Dea, they stand steadfast on Armenian issues. Armenians say thank you and thank you. On behalf of the Armenian-Australian community, and on the occasion of 20 years of siding with truth and justice on the Armenian Genocide and Artsakh, we present the New South Wales Parliament with the Armenian National Committee of Australia Gratitude Award. Thank you. I would also like to invite Mr. Jonathan O'Day as chair of the Friendship Group, and also Dr. Hugh McDermott, who spoke so eloquently today.
They've made me hold it. You come up the front. Yeah, I do. Thank you. It's very heavy. I have mine.